This practice is all about freeing up the unnecessary burdens and responsibilities that we carry on our shoulders, shedding the weight of the world so that it might even feel like a little mini retreat for you. You could do this practice seated on, like at your desk in the middle of a work day. We will be coming onto hands and knees, but otherwise it's just a seated practice. So you can start by just rolling the shoulders, and we are going to move the shoulders in their full range of movement. So many yoga teachers would say shoulders down, but we're actually looking to find absolute freedom, and that's moving in all areas, kind of like life, just finding that movement into all dimensions and all possibilities. So start with this self-hug, opening out into this expanded heart breath, the inhale to open and the exhale, wrapping the arms and even chin to the chest and rounding through the back a little, and then as you open out, like squeezing the shoulder blades towards each other, and then actually reaching around and finding your shoulder blades with your hands, these beautiful angel wings that are there to move and to support us. So you can then interlace the fingers behind the back of the body and reach the knuckles back. Again, get that sense of squeezing in between the shoulders, but then finding a different movement. So touch the thumbs onto the sacrum and rounding, and let the elbows drape forward. And so the shoulder blades are moving away from each other, shoulder blades towards each other and away from each other, kind of wrapping around, continuing in that hug feel. And bringing the hands back around into Namaste. Interlacing the fingers, lift the elbows high, and with your exhalation, pressing the palms away, and again, go for this hollowing out feel and press through the index finger and knuckle. And then inhaling the arms up and actually let the shoulders come up towards your ears, because you could almost feel like a tube of toothpaste squeezing in and reaching up, wringing out all of that tension and responsibilities. And then exhale to interlace behind the back of the body again. Go for maximum height through the chest. So if it's okay for you, looking up, or keep looking forward if you've got any neck things happening, and then exhaling back around into Namaste. So let's add on a side bending movement. Inhale to lift the elbows. As you exhale, press away and round through the back. Inhale, drop the sit bones down and reach up. And again, get that feeling of squeezing in and lifting up, even shoulders up to the ears. And then exhale and move the right hand down onto the floor, leaning over to the right side. And even here you can get this kind of like one shoulder moving down and one shoulder lifting up, just exploring that full range of possibilities. And as you reach for something a little that's a little beyond you with the left hand, feel that beautiful lengthening that's happening there through the left side body. And then coming back up through center again, reaching and lifting, and then switching to the other side. So this bottom shoulder, the left shoulder can move down, and you've got this, it's almost like opposing movements. It's called reciprocal inhibition. It's going to give you more stretch and more deliciousness through this right side body now. And then inhaling to come on up and interlacing the fingers behind you, opening through the chest. And then floating the arms up. I'm getting all sorts of cracks relax and releases through the upper back. It's delicious. Twisting around to your right side. So here, rather than shoulders down, actually let there be this shoulder shimmy. So taking the back shoulder back, it'll be your left shoulder forward, and feel how that gives you a little more opening into the twist. Again, that seeing more possibilities behind you, a different point of view. Inhale to sweep up and exhale over to the other side. And again, you've got this kind of like a shoulder shimmy. I guess if you're having a little mini retreat, you might feel like a shoulder shimmy, hopefully. So going into that a little more. And you can then inhale up through center and exhale the hands down through Namaste. So let's take that same movement through the shoulders and start to take the Sufi circle. So bringing the left shoulder So we'll take this into this shoulder shimmy into the Sufi circle. So focus on the left shoulder coming over to the right knee and dipping forward through the center. Then right shoulder to the left knee and coming back up. And just going back the other way. So now right shoulder shimmies forward, left shoulder comes in and circling around. So as we start to move the body, and in particular the shoulders, through that full range of movement, it means that we're going to create lubrication, and it's said to increase the synovial fluids in the joints, but really it's just creating that freedom within the muscle and freedom within the joints. So rather than our life is so static, and that stagnancy creates that almost locking down feeling, and then add into that the burdens and weight of the world, and you can get pretty locked up through the shoulders. So hopefully you're starting to feel that freedom already. I know I am. Happy days. All right, so then as you come up, you can inhale and sweep the arms up and exhale the hands down through the midline. So just pausing for a moment and already feeling the difference here, maybe resting the arms down and feeling hopefully like the weight of the world is just starting to slide off, and your shoulders are there to carry joy. So can you even infuse this feeling of lightness and ease in the shoulders with a great feeling of joy? How wonderful. So you can then come on to hands and knees. And on hands and knees, again, just exploring this full range of movement. So it's going to feel like you're moving the rib cage around. We can just go for a rolling. You're rolling the shoulders, but it feels like you're creating a circle with your rib cage, because the shoulders are static with your hands on the floor. But you should still feel this movement there. Just circling forwards and then circling back the other way. And hopefully now that we have the floor to press against, that little bit of resistance, that maybe you could get a little more movement there, really doming through the upper back. And then start to circle the rib cage around. So we've gone forwards and backwards, and then start to go side to side. So circling the rib cage around across the mat, and dipping down and moving across left to right. But it's important to get the head and the neck moving as well. So while it might feel like you're rolling the rib cage in one direction, it almost feels like the head's moving in the other direction. So circling back the other way now. And the other thing that happens on hands and knees is it brings in this beautiful, like a big cat, the feline quality. And I love watching them walk, you know, this real slinky movement through the shoulders. And so we can try and get that here as we are on hands and knees. So go ahead and lean back and come into an extended child pose. And you can rest the head down, or if you'd like a deeper opening, then maybe coming towards Anahatasana, melting the chest to the floor. It's also called puppy pose. And then starting to walk yourself back to hands and knees. And coming into a twist. So inhale your right arm open to the sky. And again, get that shoulder shimmy. So actually let the bottom shoulder come forward and let the other arm move back as far as it can. And then let it thread through and taking the arm across the body. Inhaling to twist and open. And exhale to thread through. And one last time, inhaling and exhale. So rather than threading the arm all the way through, keep the shoulder pretty much in line with the knee and stretch forward again into that, like that puppy pose. But this time keeping your right arm across the body. So I guess if you're at a desk, that's going to be tricky, but you could be here in this sort of position. You should feel a stretch through the outer shoulder and even into the upper back. So let's then release to hands and knees. Again, just take any, a bit of a free form movement, maybe a side to side movement, or that circling that we've already done. And then a couple of times, again, inhaling, stretching the left arm up or your other arm up, and exhaling and threading through. Inhale. As you lift, think bottom shoulder forward and maybe that top arm coming back a little more. Again, going into your fullest range of movement. And then taking the arm across the body and keeping the shoulder in line. So it's not so much that twisting through, but staying more arm across the chest as you hold and melt down here. And then you can make your way up, and again, just finding that free form movement. And then returning to your seated position again. So here, your neck and shoulders should feel quite free, which is how wonderful. Let's add in a little bit of release through the neck. So we don't do full neck rolls, but just half circles. So take the right ear to the right shoulder, chin to the chest, left ear, left shoulder, and then back up and traversing as if you were brushing your head against the wall behind you. So you don't want to take your head back into full extension. That's a bit too much for that bowling ball weight of the head, a bit too much strain on the neck. And you might find that there are corners or parts that are a little more rigid, And you can imagine smoothing them out. Let's simply go back the other way. Maybe noticing the corners where you're there's a feeling of being jagged or rough edges, and with your mind, with your breath,